and objects to make the operations. We need not write that much of stuff. Okay, just we have to specify the database related data. Database related data means with what database we done or we need to make a connection. What is the username? What is the port number? What is the driver? So these details we must specify in a configuration file in case of Hibernate. So Hibernate is a framework. Yes, what is meant by framework here? Okay, so that means framework provides some predefined stuff for us. That means we need not write or we need not code something. Okay, what is the implementation given in Hibernate framework? So we have to use it, that's all. So we need not write the fundamental code like creating the connection, creating a statement object, something like that. Okay, we need not write all those things. So understood all of you right now? Is it clear? Yeah, Sai and Venkat. Hello?
Yeah,
Venkat, Sai,
Chandra,
you there?
have you started sharing your screen?
No, no, no. I'm not
Okay,
shared it.
okay, just okay.
So right now I'm going to share my screen because just I'm asking queries only. Just now it started, right?
Yes, Chandra.
Now let me share my screen. Here you see. Now imagine this is the application what we created in Java language to make a connection. And imagine this is the database. So this is the database. So here when we need to make a connection with this specified database from Java application. So here what we have to do? We must write a program, right? Okay. Okay. But actually we need not write any stuff to make the connection with this specified database. That's all. Because it is already implemented or it is already stuff given in Hibernate. That is the main advantage with frameworks. Okay, that means here we need not write the fundamental stuff to make some operations, whatever it will be operation here. It may be either some database connection related stuff or in case of client server applications, we need not create some controller path, something like that. So I will show you what is a controller like that. Okay, some predefined stuff is given by frameworks especially. Okay, so that we need not write some stuff here in the application level. That is the main advantage we will get with frameworks, right? So understood here, Sai and Venkat? Is it clear right now?
Yes, Chandra.
Yes. Then, how that code is given, you see. Let me show some configuration files. Just we must specify some stuff in the configuration files here, like this, you see. Yes, now here you see. This is a driver. So, with which database we are going to make a connection here? Yes, with MySQL. Okay. So, to make a connection with the MySQL database, a predefined class is given here, which is called com.mysql.jdbc.driver. Okay, this is MySQL driver, and actually for this driver class we must specify or we must pass this data as input. Okay, but actually we are not written any code. Just we specified in the configuration. Okay, why? Because so what is the data written in the configuration file? Okay, so this data collects into some predefined classes given in Hibernate and then creates a connection like that, right? So that's why what we given here, yes, simply we specified driver class and then URL and then username and then password and then followed by dialect class. So later we will discuss about dialect class. Why we written dialect class here? Okay. So when we given this data or when we written this stuff in the configuration file, and moreover you see what is the configuration file we written here? Yes, dot cfg dot xml file. This is XML file you see, hibernate dot cfg dot xml. Okay, just I located the pointer you see. Okay, configuration file. So we must create hibernate configuration dot xml. Okay, and in this configuration file we given this data. Which data we created here? What is the driver? What is the URL to make a connection with the database? And what is the username? And what is the password? So when we given this data in the configuration file, that is XML file, then Hibernate related classes creates a connection with the specified database. So we need not write any stuff to make a connection like that. Okay. Then what about MySQL class? I will tell you. And you see, so understood here? Any queries? Sai and Venkat. So did you catch one point here? What I told you?
Yes, Chandra.
And Venkat.
Chandra.
Yeah, fine. Now here you see. We created a class which is called contact class. Okay, we created a contact class. In this class we created two different properties. One is of string type and the second one is of integer type using. Okay. Now, and then to set the values into these properties, we created setter methods like set name and then set id, get id, and then get id, set id, set name, get name, set id, get id. Like that we created. Okay, nothing but setter methods and getter methods, right? Okay, so this is a normal Pojo class. Do you know about Pojo? What is meant by Pojo?
No, Chandra.
Plain old Java object. Okay, Pojo means plain old Java object. Like that, right? Now, so what is the data we stored or we assigned into these properties? Okay, what are the values we assigned into these properties? Those will set into the specified database. Understood? Like that we have to write a code here. Initially what we have to do? Yes, we must set some values into these properties called name and ID. So after the values are assigned into these properties, then we must carry that data into database level. That is from Java application level into database level. That is the stuff we need to write. So we need not write any stuff to make the connection with the specified database. That is the thing we have to do here, right? Okay, understood. Hello? Yeah, Venkat and Sai. Any queries?
No, Chandra.
Yeah, now let me show the coding and the mapping file. So that means here how we can bring the data from Java application level to database table level. Yes, like this you see another XML file we created here which is called hpm.xml. Nothing but Hibernate mapping. HPM means Hibernate mapping. Okay, this is also another XML file here. So do you know about XML? What is meant by XML? Do you know? So what is meant by XML? Do you know?
Hmm. That's maybe abbreviation. Extensive markup language.
No, it is an extensible markup language.
Yeah.
So we can create the tags we have to use or we must use this XML to transform the data, right? So do you know about XML?
Not much, Chandra.
Do you know XML?
No, no,
No?
no.
Yes. So please refer that XML concepts also because here you see we written the configuration files in the form of XML only. Okay.
Okay, Chandra.
So XML is also very important here right now. Okay, fine. Now here you see what are the tags And what is the data we represented here? You see, class name is equals to contact. Yes, that's what we written here. You see this. So what is the class name we given here? Contact. The class name. And the table you see. Table also given as contacts. So what is the meaning of what is the like why we create a table name here? Yes, here when we written the Java class name and then table name, then Hibernate gets the data from this class and then it will set the data into this table. What we done here, just we written mapping, which is called Hibernate mapping. Okay, when we specified the mapping like this, then Hibernate is going through all those things. That is the main advantage. So we need not write the stuff. Okay, so that's why here you see even properties also mapped here. Okay, ID name is equals to ID. This is the first property what we created in the Hibernate level. You see that. You see this. ID is the integer type of property what we created in the Java class. This one. And what type of property it is we specified. Just we mentioned the type also, right? And then column name is given. Yes. Why we given the column name? That means what is the value we assigned in this property, okay, of this type of property is mapped to this column. So that what Hibernate is doing here, yes, it gets the value from this property and then it will set that value into this column. That's all. Okay. And what is the second property you see? Name. Okay. And the column name is given as name. Okay, let me open a database table here. Uh, just you go for MySQL database. Do you know MySQL? Do you know MySQL?
Yes, PL Chandra.
Little bit, Chandra. Little bit.
Yeah. See, right now we are going to use this database. So what is the database here? Student. Okay. So that means right now we are going to access database. We are going to access the database known as student. Okay. Fine. So now what are the tables already created in this database? Let me check. So you see two tables are there. Contacts table and then employee table. Okay. Fine. Now if you want to check what is the data presented in the contacts table, then you have to write the query like select star. Let me write the query. So at present we are having two records in the table. Let me delete them. Now you see. So the rows are deleted. Okay. So after rows are deleted, now let me insert some values. Okay. So any queries on writing this Hibernate mapping file? hbm.xml. Hello? How to write hbm? And what is the content we need to write in hbm, right? Hello?
What's
Yes,
your
I
name?
advocate. So, like you see. So, is it clear? What are the tags we written here,
Yeah,
and
tags are
what about
clear.
each and every tag? Sorry?
Tags are clear. You are saying how to write a query.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Now, that means how many configuration files we written here till now?
two, two.
Two files. What is the first file?
Hibernate.configuration.xml.
Yes, Hibernate.cfg. CFG means configuration. .xml file. And the second one is nothing but HBM file. That
Mapping.
is Hibernate mapping file. HBM, right?
Yeah.
And this is also XML file. So two XML files we created.
Yes, sir.
So these two XML files represents the configuration of the Hibernate.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me write the code. Let me show the code. Now here you see that. So now you see. Here we created, initially you see we declared different objects, session factory. Okay, session factory object, and then session object, and then transaction object, right? So the session factory, session, transaction, all these are taken from Hibernate here. That means Hibernate given some predefined classes to make the operations with the specified database. Okay, fine. So how we are using session factory, session, transaction object you see, and then buffer reader, input stream reader, like this. Okay, so why we are going to use a buffer reader and input stream reader classes? Okay, so that is to read the data from the keyboard. That means initially you see we created the objects for buffer reader, that is to accept the data from the keyboard. Okay, like whenever we given the name as input from the keyboard, then we assign that value into this variable called name, and then ID also. So when we given ID as input, then we assign that value into this variable called ID. Okay. Then after you see, we created the object for contact. Okay, we created the object for contact. So after contact object is created, then you see we given some value like we assigned the values into contact object. Okay, understood the point here, all of you? Is it clear right now? So in contact class, we created some setter methods. That is to set the given values into contact. Okay, like that you see. Now here you see, we created session factory object. Okay, here you see, we created session factory object. So how we created session factory object? You see, new configuration dot configure dot build session factory. Okay, So like from session factory object, we created one more object which is known as session object using. Yes, here this session object represents the connection with the specified database. Okay, so that's why here we created session object. Okay, now to create the session object, we must create session factory object, right? Now once session object is created, then we can say connection is created with the specified database by Hibernate. So here you see we are not written any code to make a connection. So Hibernate looks up into a configuration file which is called hibernate.cfg.xml file, and then creates a connection with the specified database. Okay, so after session object is created here, then we created one more object which is called transaction. Okay, we created transaction object. So that means once transaction object is created, then we are going to start the operations. Okay, like it may be either inserting the values into the database or getting the values from the database, like that. Okay, is it clear right now? Fine.
Chandra, how
So
Chandra, how is Hibernate knows that where is the configuration file? Or we have to
yeah,
define the configuration in some default manner so that it will find the
yes.
configuration file,
When
or we can
anything,
use
what is the
any
method
pattern.
we use it here? Open session method we use it, right?
Yes.
So that open session means it creates a connection with the database. So that means while this method is executing as a background, the Hibernate looks up into this configuration file to
So it
collect the data.
yeah. The Should the configuration file have the name hibernate.cfg.xml only?
Ah, yes,
That is the default, like that is the permanent name that the configuration file should hold, right?
yes. So that's why we must specify that file name as hibernate.cfg.xml.
Okay, if we specify some other name, it will not identify, right?
Yes, it is not going to read the data.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Now, so here, whenever we created or whenever we written open session method, then it creates a session object. When session object is created here, so what is the meaning of that? Yes, it creates the database. It creates a connection with the specified database, right? Understood? It creates the connection with the specified database. So what is the database we specified here? That is in Hibernate configuration file, nothing but MySQL. So that it creates a connection with the specified database. So then after connection is done, now here you see we created the object which is called a transaction object. Okay, here we created transaction object. That means once a transaction object is created, then we can make the operations with the specified database. Okay, like operations means in the manner like it may be either inserting the values into the database or getting the values from the database and whatever it may be. But when we are going to make the operations with the database, we must create a transaction object. Okay, once the transaction object is started, then we can start the operations. Why? Because here one more class comes into the picture which is called a dialect class. You see this? Dialect. So what is the dialect class? This is a class. Okay, the class is nothing but warg dot hibernate dot dialect dot mysql dialect, like that, right? Just we take a mysql dialect class. Okay, so what this dialect class is doing here? Yes, it makes the operations, or it generates the SQL related SQL queries to make the operations, like to insert the values. It generates insert query, and to get the values from the database, it generates select query, and to make the updations, generates update query, like that, right? So understood the point here, all of you? Yeah, Soumya. Yeah, late, very late today. We're going to finish. Now,
Yeah,
so
sir,
like that,
so how are we writing the query?
we need not write any query. Hibernate generates all those things internally.
Uh,
That is the main advantage. That's what I told you. Some stuff is generating by Hibernate itself.
so if I want to insert data, how is it how will it happen?
Simply you see, when you use the save method,
Okay, save
save means what?
contact
We
object
are
I am
going to write.
saving.
We are going to write the data into database. That's all, right?
If we want to retrieve,
Yeah, yeah, we will discuss.
okay,
We
just
have different methods.
okay.
That means we are
Only
representing.
it's like we are writing code for normal class to like set name and set ID. We are going to pass values to the normal class Java class object,
Yes,
and
yes.
after passing those values to Java class object, if we save the Java class object, then it will be directly saved in the database,
Ah, yes,
like using the session object. If we save, it will directly save in
yes,
the database table of contacts.
yes. That's
Okay.
all. Saving. See, when we return save method here, that means when we pass a contact object for a save method, then Hibernate looks up into another configuration file which is called HBM file. Okay. So what are the properties presented in the class, and what are the columns already mapped with those properties? It looks up, okay, into HBM file, and then writes the data into the table what we specified here, because already we written the mapping. Okay, this contact class is mapped to, or mapped with this table, so that Hibernate looks up into this Hibernate mapping file and then writes the data into the specified table, right?
Yes, Chandra.
That's why we written this mapping file. So mapping file is very important. Not only mapping file, even configuration file also very important. Okay, is it clear right now?
Yes, Chandra.
That is the main thing. Now, let me execute this. First of all, let me show any records presented in the database table or not. You see, at present we are not having. Showing empty set, right? You see, shows empty set. So when we written a select query, then showing, or it shows empty set here, right? Then let me execute. Now we need to enter some data from the keyboard using. Okay, so we given some values like name and ID as the input. Okay, fine. Then you go for database and check the data whether it is there or not. Now you see, is it inserted or not? Is it inserted right now? Yes. What are the values we given as input? Those are inserted here, but actually we are not written any SQL query. Even the values are stored. Yes, that is the magic of Hibernate here. Okay, so that is the framework concept. That means here we need not write some stuff because already given in frameworks. That is the main advantage here. So understood about the frameworks concept? Yes. Hello?
Understood, Chandra.
Fine. Now, let me show how to retrieve the values. So here you see. Now, let me create a session factory, session transaction like that. Okay. Now here you see that. Now, creating of session factory, session and transaction objects are same. And the configuration files also same. We need not change. The same configuration file like hibernate.cfg.xml and contact Java is same, and the Hibernate mapping file is also same. Okay, then how we changed the code to retrieve the values you see. Okay, here you see that from session method we used a method called load method. Okay, so for load method we given the class name as a parameter, as the first parameter, and then integer value as second parameter. So what is the meaning of it? Meaning of that? So why we represented the class name and then value? Yes, here load means Hibernate gets the values from the specified database table. So what is the database table or what is the database name we given in the Hibernate configuration file? So retrieves the data or retrieves the values. Which value? What is the value we given here using? Okay, 1002. So what is the value we given here? Yes, that related record or that related values gets from the database by Hibernate and then stores that data into contact table once again. So exactly why that values assigns into the contact table only? Because we written the mapping like that only. So what are the values presented? The contacts table assigns into this class. Into this class means what are the properties created already? Into those properties the values are assigned. Okay, is it clear right now? That's why here we take a contact object. So understood all of it right now? Once we got the values into contact object, then we created getter methods So by using getter methods, okay, we retrieve the values to display as output. Then finally, we close the session here. Okay, now you see that values are retrieved from the specified database table. So is it clear right now?
Yeah, Chandra, how to call like retrieve the row using string instead of integer?
String.
Like
I
if I
didn't get
can,
your point.
what, Chandra?
I didn't get your point. What you're asking, I didn't get.
Okay, I'm saying that you are using contact dot class comma new integer,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Consider if the table doesn't have an integer value for a record, then
Yeah, that is the idea actually. Already we stored that value into the database table, right?
yeah, if it doesn't have, if I don't want to call using the ID, but using the name, then then how should I
Yes.
write
Yeah, simply what you have is a new string of some value.
new string of value? Okay,
Yes, which value you want to get? That value needs to specify that.
okay. So if I use new string of value, then the whole record will be like taken into a contact class again, right? Just like this.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
That is the main advantage with Hibernate. We are not given or we are not written any SQL query, even though we are getting right.
Yes, yes, yes.
That is the magic of Hibernate. So some stuff is already there. So as a background process, it is executing. Okay.
Yes, Sunil.
Now, so like that, we can insert the values, we can get the values like that. Okay. So what are the predefined classes we taken here? So session factory, session, transaction. Okay, all these are predefined objects given in Hibernate. Okay, understood. And what about JSP? So, like, are you worked on the examples what I given related to JSP?
No, bro.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, Chandra.
So, are you worked on the examples what I given like on servlets and JSPs? Because
Uh,
like
yes.
once we enter into framework as early as possible, we are going to finish.
Okay, which Hibernate?
So only yes, the remaining concepts are nothing but strings, struts, and web services, so that we will finish the complete Java.
Okay. After that,
So after that means you have to go for marketing,
okay.
like that
Okay.
only. Okay, that's why just you have to finish the codings. That is, practicals are very important, right?
Yes, Chandra. Chandra, what I have asked about the two buttons, you said that you'll send, but you haven't
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Sorry, I just forgot that. Today I will finish it and I will send.
Yep. Yes, Chandra.
Okay. And any other queries?
Right.
That is from. It may be either JSP, servlet, JDBC, and just you find the difference between JDBC and Hibernate, right?
Yeah, JDBC is like we are using some queries, right? But in Hibernate, we just need to use objects and save objects and method. It's like totally like writing a Java code indirectly.
So the concept of Hibernate and JDBC is same, right? Both are equal.
Yeah, both are equal, but we are
Yeah,
reducing the SQL query instead.
yeah, that means some stuff is removed from here, right?
Yes, yes.
Somewhat load is
Yeah.
removed on the developer.
Now we don't have to worry with the result set.
Yes, we need not create any objects like that.
Yes,
That is the main advantage here, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's why the frameworks becomes very popular in the market today.
Yeah.
So one of the concepts we are going to discuss, those are also frameworks like Spring and Struts also.
Okay.
Okay.
So is that we have to use even all these three like Hibernate, Strats, and Springs together, or like we can just use one of them and complete the work?
No, no, yeah. So like we need to use them like Spring and Hibernate, okay, and web services and Hibernate together like that.
Okay, combinations.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So that means we need to use together Hibernate with the combination of either web services or Spring like that. That's why Hibernate is very important.
Okay.
Okay, we must create the database connection. That means in most of the applications we must create the database connection.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why we must use together like combinations, maybe like the Spring with Hibernate or web services with Hibernate like that.
Okay.
Okay, that is the main thing here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. So yes, Venkat and Soumya, any queries?
No, Chandra. I will work out and then I will ask.
Yeah, yeah, fine.
No, sir.
Yeah, yeah, fine. So yes, we'll discuss some other concepts in the next session. Okay. Yeah. Have a good day. Bye bye, all of you.
Bye.
Bye, Chandra.